I'll never forget one of the most memorable dates I ever had with a guy named Jim. Now, Jim was tall and handsome and smart and funny and very creative, and I really liked all that stuff about him. But as things were progressing after a few dates, and I thought, well, maybe this could really lead to something, I got a little more discerning and I started to get a little bit critical. And I was noticing that I wasn't feeling very loved or very special, even though I know he liked me, I wasn't feeling too special. So I realized that every time we were together, he would be checking out other women. Now, not with his tongue hanging out, obviously, but it was ever so slightly. And we women, we can pick up on these things. So, if we were at a restaurant and a waitress would walk by, I'd notice his eyeballs would just ever so slightly shift, to kind of watch her go by, or he'd be easily distracted. Now, aren't we all distracted by beauty when it comes into the room? So that's part of who we are as human persons. But to be able to focus on the person you're with and not be distracted is a sign of maturity and respect. So I started watching and I realizing I was tolerating and kind of ignoring this was happening on every date. So finally I decided to have the courage and tell him that I needed a little more from him. So in my sweetest, kindest voice, I said, I enjoy our time together, but sometimes I don't feel that special because you're very flirtatious with I know you love other people and you're charming, but it doesn't make me feel very special because you're, chitty chat with all the waitresses and eyeballs. And he didn't say anything. He was very respectful and he listened. The next time he picked me up on a date, he got out of the car. He came to my door. He opened the door, put me in the seat, went to the trunk. I saw in the rear view mirror that he was opening the trunk. He put something on and then he got back in the car. And I looked at him and he had put on a pair of glasses that he made blinders on the side, cardboard blinders, and he spray painted them black or something. I was shocked. This was his creative and a little bit sarcastic way of letting me know, okay, if you want to control me, Rose, on our date, then this is what I'm going to have to do to not look at other women. I guess I have to wear blinders. So I laughed at first and I said, oh, come on, because I was in an awkward spot. I was in the car. We're heading out to a date. I didn't really know how to handle that. So I laughed at it. We laughed. He put the glasses away and we went off. But trust me, when I came home that night and thought about it, I go, you know what? That was rude and it wasn't really that funny. And he didn't change. He was still flirty. So that was like the beginning of the end with Jim. I realized that my basic emotional needs with him were not being met. And I want to talk to you about the 5 basic emotional needs. There are lots of things, you can check it on the internet. Lots of different people have different names for them and different ways of understanding that we have basic emotional needs to feel loved, to feel safe. But these are the ones I use in my work as a Catholic coach, and I start them all with S because that way I can remember them. So get your pens and pencils out and write these down and memorize them. And I'm going to show you at the end what to do with these when you're on a date with somebody. So number 1, the basic human need is to be seen. Emotional need. Do you see me? Do you notice me? Do you care about noticing me? Am I invisible? Am I just another face or a name in the crowd? Or do I stand out? Am I special to you somehow? Do you see me? And do you see me correctly? Do you see all of me, not just body parts or not just something that I do or say, but do you have the ability to see all of me? Okay, number 2 is, do I feel safe with you? Or do you feel safe in the relationship? And what that means is you are safe from manipulation, control, sarcasm, digs and contempt in the guise of humor, mockery, name-calling, again, even funny, just all the things that we need to feel that we have value and respect. Am I safe from gaslighting? Am I safe from your narcissistic tendencies? So that's a big buzzword nowadays. Do I feel safe with this person? And number 3 is, do I feel sweet? This is one of my favorites because we know there are a lot of people who love us, who see us, and we're pretty safe in the relationship. But we're not that special to them. They don't absolutely delight in us. Their eyes don't get wide and they don't smile when we walk in the room. I remember the first time I was very aware of this as a young girl. I worked for my father for many decades, actually. And every morning when I walked into the office, Dad would look up from his work that he was totally involved in. He'd go, "Hi, honey, how are you this morning?" There was obvious care and joy, and not just love, but delight. Oh, it's my oldest daughter coming into the office. I could see it on his face. I could hear it in his voice. So there are people who do love you, but maybe they don't really delight in you to that degree. The 4th one is soothe. Now let me rename those again. Seen, safe, sweet, and soothed. And what this means is if you are in a down mood or you've got a problem or something, the person isn't rushing in to make you change and to get you out of your bad mood and to fix your problems. They're not there to fix, they're first there to soothe you. "Oh, honey. Oh, what happened? Oh, that must have been horrible. Are you okay?" That's the first response. They lead with soothing. Then they know and they have the wisdom to say, "How can I help? What do you need from me? How can I fix this problem?" So, men and women are equally guilty of this, of rushing in to fix things because we feel uncomfortable when somebody else is uncomfortable. So this is something that we should all learn to do, is to be okay with people who are in bad moods. The last one is sure. So you have a relationship with somebody, they see you, you feel safe with them, you're sweet to them, they will soothe you first before trying to fix you. But you're also sure that they get the big picture of our faith and of life in general, and they know what you need. They need to be a strong friend to you who will help you on your journey to heaven. You are sure that they want holiness and heaven for you, and they would never tempt you or lure you or suggest anything to you or let anything happen that would pull you off that path to sanctity. So let me say those again, just for my own sake. Seen, safe, sweet, soothed, and sure. So check your relationships. Look at each one of them in a different light, and say, with this person, do I feel all 5 of these? Now, the reality is, in many good, healthy relationships, you won't feel all 5. You'll feel a few, and that's okay. But don't expect too much from what that person can give you or not. So let's talk about dating now. When you're dating somebody, when you're with somebody in all different circumstances, just remember this list, memorize it, and check, do I feel these things when I'm with this person? Now here's a little quiz for you. Of the 5, when you're dating and you have marriage in mind, what is the most important of the 5? Well, the answer is the last one. There are days when the person you love, your romantic interest or your spouse, you're not going to feel particularly safe with them. And maybe they don't even see you and they don't even care about you at the moment. But they never waver in the fact that you can be sure they want heaven for you. You can be sure they would never expose you to anything that would tempt you or harm you or hurt you psychologically or spiritually or morally. So when you're looking for that, look for the last one, which is sure. And that's why it's so important that we as Catholics who are maturing and growing in our faith and our love and our trust in God, partner ourselves with other people of like mind. Because the other emotions will come and go. It won't be perfect, but you want somebody who knows and understands you and your love for God, your love for the church, your fidelity to God, your fidelity to the church, and that you are sure that they want that for you, and they will do whatever they can or within their power to help you get to heaven. So remember these, Use it put them in your purse, ladies. Write it down, memorize it, teach your kids, teach your friends. These are the basic 5 emotional needs that we need in every healthy relationship, and especially in a romantic dating relationship.